I'm Jordan the Nerd of Gold, and I'm answering 52 questions associated with DC Comics, and I'm going to answer this on day 51. That doesn't mean I'm limiting myself to 52 questions in general. I'm just counting down, so feel free to add more questions in this comments section. But to answer this question, Swamp Thing, anything Swamp Thing. This seems pretty general, so I'm just going to say this. I will say I am not personally the biggest Swamp Thing fan in the world, but that being said, I do have what I think might be a hot take on Swamp Thing, in which is I think Alan Moore stifled the development of Swamp Thing. And I know a lot of people are like, what? Alan Moore Swamp Thing is the Swamp Thing. And I get that. I do. I'm not arguing against that Swamp Thing run is a great Swamp Thing run. But I feel like it also kind of stifled the development of Swamp Thing as a superhero concept. There is no sillier version of Swamp Thing. I mean, there's maybe one or two in kids media from cartoons, like Justice League Action, I think, has a more colorful and fun type version of Swamp Thing, but there's less of that, and it's almost all horror and serious. And I'm not saying that Swamp Thing shouldn't be a horror-based character, but also the Hulk was a horror-based character at first, and he developed into a more superheroic figure while never really forgetting his horror roots. And I feel like Swamp Thing had a similar path in front of him at one point, but Alan Moore's writing on him became so iconic, it felt like it kind of shifted him all into one type of story, these serious prestige type stories, rather than the kind of wide range of superhero style comics. There is no Swamp Thing the superhero kind of comic. That doesn't really exist, or if it does exist, it is not very well known, and to the point where I don't know it. And I like to try to keep broad history and overview in my head of every character, even if I'm not personally a big fan of them, because they are part of the tapestry of the DC universe, and I need to know what's going on in the entire DC universe, not just my favorite characters. So yeah, that's my probably hot take on Swamp Thing, is that Alan Moore stifled the development of Swamp Thing by being Alan Moore.